Hello, I'm Nima Rajan. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says he's disappointed that China has now charged detained Canadians Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor with spying for state secrets and intelligence. The Prime Minister says he will be engaging directly with the Chinese government and allies around the world to make it clear that it's important to send the two Michaels back to Canada. Their detentions in China have been widely seen as retaliation for the 2018 arrest of Huawei executive Meng Wanzhou in Vancouver. Earlier this month, Huawei's ambitions to be a player in Canada's 5G network were cast in doubt after two of the country's three largest telecom companies announced partnerships with Huawei's European rivals. A Made in Canada mobile app to alert those who may have been exposed to a person infected with COVID-19 is ready for testing in Ontario. Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland says the app will ensure the privacy of Canadians who use it. The app will work by having people who test positive for the novel coronavirus upload that information anonymously to the app with the help of a public health official. Then any phone that was recently close to that phone for an extended period of time will alert its holder to a possible exposure to the illness. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau made a visit to a gourmet cafe in Quebec today to make a plea to small business owners to use the federal wage subsidy program to rehire workers. Meantime, the federal government is delaying the start date for another program that was supposed to help small businesses survive the COVID-19 pandemic. Finance Minister Bill Morneau announced on Twitter late yesterday that the expansion of the Canada Emergency Business Account to include small owner-operated businesses will not launch today as scheduled. Conservative leadership candidates Derek Sloan and Leslyn Lewis sought to regain their footing in yesterday's English language debate. They advanced social conservative arguments on gender and immigration. Both Mr. Sloan and Ms. Lewis have launched their campaigns with the backing of influential pro-life groups and have made policies in that regard to parts of their campaign. The other two candidates, Peter MacKay and Erin O'Toole, have said they support a woman's right to abortion. The question of systemic racism in Canada was also tackled. Lewis, MacKay, and Sloan all agreed that the problem is real and must be addressed. But O'Toole wouldn't say whether he believes systemic racism exists. The deadline for Conservative Party members to return their ballots by mail is August 21st. The Prime Minister says he is committed to fight racism in the federal government. Justin Trudeau made the pledge in the House of Commons yesterday under questioning by NDP leader Jagmeet Singh. The Bloc Québécois tried to have the New Democrat leader kicked out of the House of Commons for a second day for calling a Bloc member racist. Commons Speaker Anthony Rota said he would take the request under advisement, but allowed Mr. Singh to remain and ask questions as part of the Special Commons Committee on COVID-19. Data collected from Canada's independent provincial investigation units show that out of a total of 167 investigators, just 49 are women and 20 identify as a visible minority or person of color. The Independent Investigations Office of British Columbia could not provide information about race. The majority of people investigating police misconduct are former police officers. Akwazi Awusu Bempa, an assistant professor at the University of Toronto, says it's clear that civilians with no relationship to police need to be trained to take on these roles. Statistics Canada says retail sales fell by more than a quarter in April as motor vehicle and parts dealers took the largest hit due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Economists on average had expected a drop in April of 15.1%, according to financial markets data firm Refinitiv. While essential services like grocery stores remained open, most retailers did not offer in-store shopping in April due to public health restrictions meant to slow the spread of the pandemic. Statistics Canada says online sales surged to a record high, representing 9.5% of the total retail market. Black Americans are marking Juneteenth. June 19th is the anniversary of when slaves in Texas learned of their freedom in 1865, nearly 30 months after Abraham Lincoln issued his famous Emancipation Proclamation. Activists say Juneteenth will be even more bittersweet this year as protests against racism and police brutality continue across the U.S. President Donald Trump issued a presidential message today in which he noted the unimaginable injustice of slavery and the incomparable joy that must have attended emancipation. The president is preparing to relaunch his presidential re-election campaign with a rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma tomorrow, the scene of a race riot in 1921 that many historians consider the single worst eruption of racial violence in American history. The European Union Police Agency is warning that offenders are increasingly trying to access material depicting the sexual abuse of children during COVID-19 lockdown measures. Europol says the amount of child sexual exploitation material shared online has increased globally as both children and sexual offenders are confined at home. The agency says it is continually monitoring the problem and supporting EU member states as they seek to identify abusers and victims. India's prime minister is scheduled to meet with top opposition leaders as the government tries to lower tensions with China after a deadly border clash. Both sides have denied Indian media reports that Indian troops were taken into custody and later released. India and China have accused each other of instigating the deadliest conflict between them in 45 years. Both countries said they were communicating through military and diplomatic channels afterwards. The clash has fanned growing anti-Chinese sentiments in India due to the coronavirus pandemic. The World Food Programme says without funding, a crucial global emergency delivery service could shut down next month. The emergency delivery effort, involving almost 120 countries, has kept tons of humanitarian aid flowing despite COVID-19 travel restrictions. The UN and various health entities have warned about dangerous delays in many countries' vaccination campaigns, saying the lives of up to 80 million children under the age of 1 could be at risk. The roller coasters are running again in Tokyo, but riders are being asked not to scream to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Japan's economy is reopening cautiously with social distancing restrictions amid the coronavirus pandemic. The country's long stagnant economy sorely needs tourism, exports, and thriving small businesses to avoid sliding deeper into a recession. Malala Yousafzai, the Pakistani teenager shot by the Taliban for pursuing an education, has completed her degree at Oxford University. The now 22-year-old has posted images on Twitter of her celebration early this morning upon completing a degree in philosophy, politics, and economics. The 2014 Nobel Peace Prize winner says, quote, "I don't know what's ahead. For now, it will be Netflix, reading, and sleep." Well, that'll do it for today's news update. I'm Nima Rajan. Thank you for joining us today, and I'll see you next time.